The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Council regular meeting. It is May the 21st, 2026. It is now 6:30 p.m. I am delighted to see the chamber nearly full this evening, but I really know why that's the case, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But in order to start the meeting, let us begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would stand if you're able and join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, let the record show that all members of the council are present.
Yes, Mayor, I will.
And that will allow us to begin tonight's business with, I think, the reason why the majority of you all are here, and that is for the presentation of the village scholarships. And so, just as a reminder, these scholarships recognize academic excellence and leadership, character, and community service. The program is open to all graduating seniors who are residents of Royal Palm Beach, not just Royal Palm Beach High School. However, I'm especially proud to announce that 7 of the 11 scholarships that were awarded this year were to students from Royal Palm Beach High School, which I believe is the largest number that we've ever had before. So congratulations to the principal, Dr. Robinson, who is here, and of course to the students, the parents, and everybody else. Great accomplishment. This year is especially meaningful because we also have an 11th scholarship, which was provided by the gentleman sitting to my right here. The Richard Valentis Scholarship, sponsored by Councilman Valentis, in support of education, community service, and based upon his own personal experience. So financial assistance made a difference, I think, in his life, and it is something that he's offering to others. So these scholarships that we're offering this evening are made possible through a number of sources. One of them is coming up, the 4th of July. Golf tournament is actually a source of funding for these scholarships. So if you play golf, even if you don't play golf, feel free to join us on the 4th of July in the morning, and it's a good time, but it also is an opportunity to raise some funds for our scholarships. I want to offer special thanks to our Royal Palm Beach Education Advisory Board, who spent countless hours reviewing the applications, and as if that weren't enough, they spent pretty much an entire Saturday interviewing the finalists. The village greatly appreciates your support, your hard work, and your dedication to our community, to our schools, and now to our newest graduates. I don't know whether everybody's quite graduated yet or not. Nevertheless, tonight, the members of the Education Advisory Board are here to assist with the presentation of the scholarship checks, and they will be reading each recipient's name, at which time that recipient should step forward. And they will be reading a brief biography for each one of our 11 recipients as they come forward. So with that said, let us begin to recognize all of these outstanding scholarship winners.
Good evening, everyone. Our first scholarship recipient is Brooke Bloser. And if I remember, I'm reading her bio in her absence. Oh, okay, you'll be accepting on her behalf? Okay. Brooke Bloser of the King's Academy has been a resident of Royal Palm Beach for 16 years. As a student, she's been involved in varsity golf and weightlifting, figure skating, mock trial law, and her school's medical program. She will be attending the University of Florida in the fall and plans to study biochemistry.
This is one of those opportunities we're accepting on behalf of, right?
Yes.
Yeah, love that. Congratulations to the parents.
Our next recipient is Sienna Collado. Sienna is a graduating senior from Seminole Ridge Community High School. She will be attending Florida Gulf Coast University in the fall to study communications with a minor in journalism. Been an involved member of the First Tee organization, where she volunteers weekly at Commons Park as a junior golf coach. She's also a dedicated film and TV production student who has competed at the district, state, and national levels. She is excited to continue her education and career in the entertainment industry. Congratulations, Sienna. Next, we have Zuri Dowdle. Zuri Dowdle is a recent graduate of Royal Palm Beach High School. She graduated with a Bright Future Scholarship, ACE diploma, and her AA degree from Palm Beach State College. She will be attending Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University to continue her studies in graphic communications. Congratulations, Zuri.
Congratulations.
I get to announce the next recipient, Tamsin Lee.
Good evening. Congratulations.
Student and softball athlete going to attend Emerson College. She's a hardworking individual who has
Fantastic. What are you going to be studying? What are you going to be studying? Okay, well, let's create.
It's not on. I'm sorry, Diane. Sorry about that. Most notably, she volunteers for the Teen Coalition in Action as the president, organizing regular events. She also videos events for the community, including Indian Trails Improvement District, Loxahatchee Groves, Carson Scholars Fund, Alma Vet Connection, and Cape Universal. Her goal is to be a screenwriter and director for films. And a point of privilege, I did get to see Tamsin receive another scholarship last month from the Student Showcase of Films, so we have a lot to be proud of. Congratulations, Tamsin. And next, we have Aiden Martinez, a student from Royal Palm Beach Community High School. Aiden spent 13 years living in Palmdale, California, where he attended Dos Caminos Dual Language School. After moving to Florida, he attended Crestwood Middle School and later graduated from Royal Palm Beach Community High School recently. During high school, he participated in dual enrollment from 10th through 11th grade, and in 12th grade, he completed an early admission program, earning his Associate of Arts degree from Palm Beach State College. He plans to pursue a career in nursing with the goal of helping others and making a positive impact in his community. Congratulations, Aiden.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of announcing the next two recipients. First, Seoni Prague. Seoni is an ACE diploma recipient from Royal Palm Beach High School. While not studying, she enjoys doing all the typical South Florida leisure activities, including going to the beach, snorkeling, and especially golf. She cites her sister as her inspiration and reason for the person that she is today. Seoni will be studying neuroscience at the University of Central Florida this fall. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Next, I have Yashada Rampersad. Yashada is a longtime Royal Palm Beach resident and graduating senior who will be pursuing a career in architecture by way of Florida Atlantic University. She has high ambitions to become a world-renowned architect. Congratulations.
Good evening. Next, we will have Malia Rode. Malia is a recent graduate of Royal Palm Beach High School. She served as platoon commander in the NJROTC program at her school.
I know you're more in uniform.
As well as a member of the medical program. She will be attending Palm Beach State College right here at home this year, and we wish Malia all the best. Next, we have Kaylee Richard. Eighteen-year-old Kaylee Richard is a recent graduate from Royal Palm Beach High School. She will be attending the University of Florida this fall to specialize in applied physiology and kinesiology. Good luck, Kaylee.
Congratulations.
Good evening, everyone. I have the pleasure of announcing Nicholas Riddick. Nicholas is a senior at Seminole Ridge High School, graduating in the top 5% of his class.
Congratulations.
He's played soccer his entire life, starting at 4 years old for the Royal Palm Beach Strikers rec program. He continued on to join the competitive program up to this year, as well as being a coach for the rec program for the past 3 years. He was on the Seminole Ridge High School soccer team all 4 years and was awarded Defensive Player of the Year my senior year. He will be attending the University of Florida this coming fall as sports media major. Congratulations. I have the pleasure of announcing Leanna Wright. Leanna Wright will be attending the University of Central Florida on the pre-veterinary track, majoring in zoology. While attending Royal Palm Beach Community High School, she has been involved in sports such as soccer and flag football, volunteering for the Royal Palm Beach Strikers and helping at animal rescue centers. Driven by her passion for science and love for animals, she looks forward to experiencing a successful journey toward her career in veterinary medicine. Congratulations.
Okay, so let's give all of the recipients another round of applause. And ask them to all come on so we can take a group photo, and I'd like to ask the council to come on down to join. The big group. Move us around if you need. Squish it. Okay. Balance the squish. Come on back.
Oh, turn in?
Okay. How about that?
No one sees you.
That work? All right.
The ends, I guess.
There you go. People on the ends, fill the chairs. Remove some of the doubt. How's that? We got it?
3, 2, 1.
All right, great. Congratulations again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So while I'm on my way back up there, I want to thank the Education Advisory Board again for helping out as they did in so many ways to recognize and honor our future as we see it come before us in Royal Palm Beach tonight. So thank you, Education Advisory Board. You guys are great. Appreciate it. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, I see everybody's taking the opportunity to leave. I'll wait a second until. Okay, I think we have everybody settled. So let's move to the next agenda item, and that is another opportunity to recognize our youth here in Royal Palm Beach. We actually began a program called the Youth Civic Leadership Program. This year was the first year. The goal of the program was simple, but I think important, to help develop an informed, engaged, community-minded set of young leaders here in Royal Palm Beach by giving the students a firsthand look at how government actually works and how decisions are made that, as we know, affect our lives every day here in Royal Palm Beach. Throughout the year, the students attended village board and council meetings. They participated in discussions with village leadership and staff and gained exposure to many of the services and to the responsibilities involved in local government. They learned not only about public policy, civic responsibility, but hopefully they learned about leadership and professionalism as well as community service. You know, for a first-year program, I believe this program was very successful. We learned a great deal along the way, and some of those lessons learned we'll be applying to the next version, 2.0, of Youth Civics Leadership Program for next year. We look forward to gathering additional feedback, so for any of you all who participated, we are interested in any of your feedback to help us make this program even more effective. I want to sincerely thank the Village Council for supporting the initiative and for personally participating in the program, especially during the rollout, and again throughout the year. Your involvement, I think, demonstrated to these students that civic leadership really does matter. I also want to especially thank the village manager, department heads, and also the village staff for their time and their energy and for their enthusiasm. And it was especially notable during the rollout that was done at the beginning of the year. Their willingness to share their experiences, their knowledge, gave the students an authentic understanding of public service, I think, and local government. So thank you for that. And I would be remiss if I didn't especially recognize Royal Palm Beach High School Principal Dr. Shakika Robinson. Without her enthusiastic support along the way, kind of leaning in and reminding the students of their commitment, we wouldn't have seen the success that we have, and we look forward, like I say, to an even better version of it next year. Most importantly, congratulations to the students. Your commitment to the program reflects on you positively, on your families, and on your school, as well as the community. So we're proud of you. We look forward to seeing the leadership roles that you will take in the future, and there's no doubt in my mind that's true. At this time, I'm going to turn to the Vice Mayor, and I'm going to ask her to read the names of the students who successfully completed all of the requirements of the Youth Civic Leadership Program while I present the certificates.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to do my extreme very best to pronounce these names correctly. If I don't, charge it to my, head, not my heart. Shanice Dennis. Is she in the room?
She's not here.
Okay.
Okay.
Alexander Horbick.
Let's open it up. Congratulations, Alex. Good work.
Wow, congratulations.
I think we get to see Alex next year, right?
He already has that attorney walk and judge
yes, he
look.
Does. The attorney swagger, right? Okay.
Ann Sarah Jean Law.
Congratulations. Good job. Thank you.
And Alyssa Mokaraj.
Congratulations. Okay, why don't you just stay here, because I'm going to ask the other three to come on up. And I'm going to ask the council again to come on down so we can take a group shot. And thank everybody for participating in this. And like I said, we're very interested in any of your feedback as to how we can make it better next year, and especially in the area of making it perhaps more achievable so that we have more students actually involved throughout the year, because I think that's really important. It's an excellent opportunity to find out how local government works. So, what's that? Oh, yeah. Dr. Robinson, why don't you come on up? You want to do a sideways thing? All right. Okay, thank you. Congratulations to you all. Dr. Robinson, thank you. Appreciate it. You need to get some rest. So as I said, we are learning as we go with this program. And one of the things that we learned is the requirements that we place on the students was perhaps a little more difficult trying to manage time and everything than we had anticipated. And that's one of the areas we're going to take a look at. So we felt it was appropriate to actually have an opportunity to recognize those who didn't quite fulfill all of the requirements, just actually missed by one. Actually, we have two students who fit that description and to whom we will give honorable mention. And so when your name is read, if you would rise, and we'll certainly recognize you for your efforts.
Malia Roan. Mark Felida.
Congratulations once again. Thank you for your effort. Thanks for being involved. And likewise, as I said before, we're looking for input as to how we can make the program even more effective in the coming year. So thank you once again. Okay. And moving on with the next agenda item, which would be two proclamations that I have to read. Both of which are to recognize a function of the village government, which is really an important function that oftentimes doesn't get the kind of recognition that it should. The first proclamation is for building safety. In fact, May is Building Safety Month, in case you didn't know that. So let me read that proclamation. Whereas the Village of Royal Palm Beach is committed to recognizing our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic value of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure that serve our citizens both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And whereas our confidence in the structural integrity of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety, fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a U.S.-based organization that brings together local, state, and federal officials that are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown guardians of public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, efficient, and livable buildings. And whereas the 2026 theme, Built to Last, encourages all to reflect on our steadfast American determination to stand strong regarding building safety, increased awareness of the importance of building safe and resilient construction that ensures the places where we live, learn, work, and play are safe, and recognizes that countless lives have been saved due to the implementation of uniform building and safety codes by local and state officials. Now, therefore, I, Jeff Amara, Mayor of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Building Safety Month, and accordingly encourage our citizens to join with their communities to improve building safety, economic investment at home, and to acknowledge the essential service as first preventers provided by our building safety officials in protecting our lives and property, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, to be affixed this, the 21st day of May, 2026. So is Mr. Rob Hill here? Might as well take advantage of the opportunity to appropriately recognize Mr. Hill for all the great work that he does in that regard. Some of us have had the opportunity to find out just how important it is firsthand, but it is indeed a pleasure to
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
make this recognition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. And we have one other proclamation. And I see Paul is here, so that'd be good. And it is a proclamation recognizing National Public Works Week. And it reads, whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets, and highways, and public buildings and solid waste collection, and whereas the health, safety, comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff the public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work that they perform. Now, therefore, I, Jeff Amara, Mayor of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of May 17, 2026 as National Public Works Week in the Village of Royal Palm Beach. And I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. In witness whereof, I hereto set my hand and cause the seal of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida to be affixed this 21st day of May 2026. Mr. Paul Webster, our Director of Public Works. It's a good opportunity to publicly acknowledge the great work that you all do. We really appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Sir.
Appreciate it. It's really good to have an agenda that's full of recognition, celebration, all that. So thank you all to the staff for all the wonderful work that they do. So I think that brings us to reports. And so let's begin with Councilwoman Brodusky.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to continue the celebration by announcing an award that we got. Back in February, we were involved in a program called Read for the Record, See Marcus Grow, and several of us went and read to our schools and libraries, and I know you're all dying to know what certificate we got. Reading to just about 1,800 kids on that same day. We came in second, again, honorable mention, but what a fun day it is for us to read to the children here in the village, both in school and at the library. So, and I love this idea of celebrating. So, has everyone seen Bouquet Boulevard yet? Okay, Bradford, unveil our latest art installation called Bouquet Boulevard.
Great, thank you very much. It is my pleasure to present to you Bouquet Boulevard. It is a floral art installation down Royal Palm Beach Boulevard with 7 signal cabinets being wrapped from mimosa to sandpiper. And in this case, there will be no weeding or fertilizer necessary, Paul, for these bouquets of flowers down Royal Palm Beach Boulevard. The village chose CD Wraps, which is a local Royal Palm Beach family-owned business built on pride, precision, and commitment to doing things the right way. Owned and operated by Charles Reese, who used his passion for graphic art to start his business, centered around quality craftsmanship, bringing visual appeal in large format across South Florida. And as you can see on this slide, the different locations of these wraps. 4 of these wraps have been installed. So this is moving north to south. This one is Summer Blooms. This is Charm Poene, which is a very vibrant. We try to pick very vibrant colors to really stand out and bring color to the boulevard.
Yeah. Oh.
Let me go back. This is Tulip and Hyacinth, which is also, as you can see, very, very vibrant. And also another one, White Rose and Willow. Coral Cloud Rose. Yeah? Ray really likes that one. Blue Plumbago. And again, you see how vibrant these colors are. And so those are the ones that have been selected and will be installed.
They're beautiful.
Yes, they are.
And the installation is
Beautiful.
going.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, no problem.
That's my report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor.
Oh, wow. Okay. That was good. Okay,
See if you can top that.
I can't. Well, other than we went to Royal Palm Beach Community High School and shook the hand of every student that graduated. And then I went home and cried because I was so proud. I noticed the looks on the students' faces, some of them apprehensive, some of them excited, some of them worried about the next step, and then those that didn't have families. They were glad that we all were there, and that made me feel really good. I got a chance to talk to some of them. I am so proud of these kids. You all just don't know. They're going to really do great things. You know, I'm really proud of them. Went to CAFSI, the community day at Commons Park, and I danced with the dancer. Yes, I did. I did the best I could, and they caught it on a video, and the video has gotten 522 views, and that's all I got to say about that. Other than that, I met some new business owners. I'm so excited about this. So we went to Pancake House, which is on 441 up by Office Depot, the plaza, and there's a new cleaners there, new operator cleaners there. And I guess it seemed like all the cleaners are called One Price Cleaners, even though it's not one price. And that's how I got to know them, because I came out, I saw the name, and I started fussing, because if one price to me means you charge me one price for everything, that's not what one price means. So I met the owner, and he explained to me what it means. So got a chance to meet them. There's a new UPS store owner in the plaza at Crestwood and Southern in the Duffy's Plaza, right there on the end. She is busy already. It's going really great for her. And then the Popeyes that opened, that we went to the opening of, you went to the opening of,
And
is
Jen was
actually, a private franchisee. And of course, since Lenny and I like Popeyes, I got the opportunity to go by there a couple of times this week and just happened to meet the new franchisee owner. Yeah, I like chicken. So it went really well. The businesses are doing really good. And I told them that I would mention it from the dais. I'm really proud of them for being here in Royal Palm Beach. That's important. They find our village to be a business-friendly village. So, and then this morning, last but not least, I was in Pahokee. The president-elect was installed today for Pahokee Rotary Club, but she lives here in Royal Palm Beach. Her name is Dr. Jinga, and she owns a health center in Pahokee. So I got a chance to watch her get installed, and that's my report, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Councilman Melendez.
Yeah, just to follow up on what the Vice Mayor said, I just wanted to, say congratulations and thank you for the School District of Palm Beach County and Dr. Robinson do a phenomenal job with as many graduations as they do, everything that's going on behind the scenes, and it flows seamlessly. So thank you for another impressive graduation ceremony. We also had, as the Vice Mayor mentioned, Cultural Diversity Day, which I really think was a good fit where they did it this time. They did it many years ago at Commons, and I didn't think it was a good fit because of just the location, but having it close to the sporting center, I thought really, even though it was super hot, they did have, tents and shades and everything like that. So that was, I think, a really good event. Earlier, I don't know if it was last month or the beginning of this month, the whole council was able to go out and see our recreation soccer program do their finals, which was really nice. They run a great program out there and have for years. I appreciate the invitation, and keep on keeping on, because the numbers are just doing nothing but going up. And I also got to attend for the first time now, I guess Royal Palm Elementary's been doing this for several years. H.L. Johnson started 2 years ago. Cypress Trail started this senior walk where they're having children who went to the elementary schools who are graduating seniors come back. And I guess the way this worked out is the principal at Cypress Trails, this was the first class. When he came and was the principal, he knows these fifth graders when they were graduating this year. So I hope it's a tradition. It was very impressive, and I can't imagine what it is at H.L. Johnson and Royal Palm, because they've been doing it a little longer. But if you get a chance or an opportunity to do that, please do, because it is a lot of fun. The kids love it, and the students at the school just love seeing the high schoolers come back. And then finally, on Monday, I encourage everyone to come out. We have our Memorial Day tribute. I think the breakfast is at 9, and the ceremony starts at 9:30. And I hope to see everybody out there. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilwoman Samuel.
Good evening, everyone. I attended the Young at Heart May Luncheon, so it was great as their season wraps up, and thank you very much to all the volunteers who make it really special, all the decorations, all the time and effort that goes into it, so thank you. Also, the Health and Fitness Club, there were some questions going on before because of the renovations at the rec center, but the fitness club is open, and you can still get your 6-month membership over there. And what's amazing is for a resident family, which is 3 members or more, $47.50 for 6 months over at the rec center for their gym. So check that out. Our soccer program continues to grow. Our fall recreation registration is underway as our competitive program tryouts, and they're always looking for coaches. So if you have any time that you would like to donate. Thank you to all who participated in our annual Citizen Summit, and thank you to the staff for facilitating each table. So it's quite a feat that they go through to help organize everything. And congratulations to all of our graduating seniors, not just high school, but we have elementary, middle, and college. So congratulations to everyone as their summer starts up. And as we get ready for summer, Palm Beach County Fire has a lot of information out there. Our District Chief Romero has an article in the Village Voice that she puts out there. And this month, it's about weather and lightning safety, and also the importance of hydration now that we're going into the summer months. Drowning Prevention Coalition has a free and reduced swim lessons. And if you go to discover.pbc.gov, you can find all that information on there. And I would like the council to consider, if we can make this, talk about it tonight, but to propose our December council meeting is the first Thursday, not the third Thursday of the month in December. So if we can go ahead and make that change. if the council would like to talk about that.
Okay, so
I wouldn't know what my schedule is. I can't say I'm against it. If we want to discuss it, maybe put it as an agenda item, I'd definitely be for that. But without knowing what the schedules are, I mean, but that's just me.
would that work for you if we put it on the agenda for next?
The council would like to put it on the agenda for next month to discuss it?
Okay, so we will then put it on the agenda for next month. We'll have that conversation. Okay? All right, thank you. Education Advisory Board. They not only did a great job this evening in selecting the scholarship recipients, but they provide a platform for the schools to come together with the community in a variety of unique ways. One way we did at the last meeting of the year, past Monday, I think it was, not this immediate Monday, Monday before, we recognized Dr. Jesus Armas, who some of you all know was principal at Royal Palm Beach High School for actually 11 years. We recognized him on the occasion of his retirement of almost 40 years as a professional educator. He continued his remarkable legacy by virtue of not only sharing his leadership talents and abilities and love for his students with other professional educators, 10 of whom right now are actually principals at various schools within Palm Beach County. Pretty remarkable legacy, as well as leaving his mark along the way. And he is right now the principal of John I. Leonard High School. And as such, they're going to be opening a firehouse right there on campus to be able to conduct a fire rescue academy, which is pretty amazing. Unless, of course, you've watched him before. Here at Royal Palm Beach High School, part of his legacy, just a part of it that I'm most familiar with, is the International Baccalaureate program that is there, and also the Navy Junior ROTC program, obviously one of my particular favorite programs. I know that he got those underway because he engaged with me and asked for my help and actually the council's help in gaining support for the evidence of the community support for these activities. Went a long way. He's made a huge difference, and so we congratulated him on the extraordinary service that he provided to so many teachers, so many students beyond the count. So congratulations, Dr. Armas, on your retirement. Well deserved. Congratulations to Randy Brown, our IS director, for stepping into the AI arena and bringing us along. This is, I think, a first step in something that's going to become incredibly important to us all as AI becomes more and more prevalent. And beginning with basics is a great place to start. Clearly, we need some follow-up to really understand how effective AI can be for us, as well as any cautions that we need to take with regard to security and other things. So thank Randy for taking the initiative on that and making that happen. The Recreation Center expansion, heard about the workout facility, and that is only part of what is going to be a really dynamic and challenging undertaking for the next 17 months or so. And we did a groundbreaking ceremony to celebrate the initiation of one of the largest renovation and also expansion projects that we've done in Royal Palm Beach. It's a remarkable undertaking. It's exciting to see the beginning of it. We can hardly wait to see it open and do the ribbon cutting on it, which is a ways down the track, but I expect that we're all going to be delighted with the end result of it. Regional transportation. I bring it up to say, first of all, I had an opportunity to be on a Zoom meeting, might have been Google Meets, I don't know. Anyway, with Congressman Brian Mast and two other mayors in the county talking about funding coming from the federal government. There's something called the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Act, which is pending consideration, and he's on the Transportation Committee that will be recommending to the body what to do about it. And there's an act called the Basics Act, and while I don't remember exactly what it stands for, the most important thing is that it proposes to provide funding directly to those that actually implement, the local governments. And so we encouraged him to do that. We told him about our countywide transportation master plan, trying to encourage him by virtue of saying, we have a plan. We're going at this in a very thoughtful way, and so hopefully that assures him that the money that would come directly to us, in whatever form, actually will be well utilized by virtue of that. One other thing on transportation, we had an MPO meeting, Metropolitan Planning Organization, used to be called the Transportation Planning Agency, and we had an hour-long conversation about Palm Tran, which is kind of unusual because it wasn't even on the agenda. And there's a lot of concern over funding for Palm Tran because at this particular point in time, there's an inclination, and we're all concerned about growing expenses and things of that nature, and then we're concerned also about property taxes and where that's liable to take us. And when you put it all together, it's understandable that the Board of County Commissioners would become concerned about expenses in areas that they may not see clearly. However, they were talking about a $27 million cut in budget, which is huge. And so the conversation with the MPO Board of Governors wound up directing the executive director to put together a letter of support for Palm Tran and encouragement to maintain the funding level, and we'll be sending that to the Board of County Commissioners. So that completes my report. I will now turn to the village manager.
Well, I'm going to go back to the education theme. In last year's budget workshop, council asked us to budget 2 positions, internship positions, for recent or high school students or recent graduate high school students. They had to be minimum 16 years old to work in our parks department during the summer. We did advertise those positions. One of the positions has been filled. It's an 8-week work program. It's 40 hours a week for 2 months, June and July. They will rotate every 2 weeks and learn different tasks that the Parks Department is responsible for. They do make a little over $17 an hour, so there's an opportunity to make some good money. Hopefully Mark gets the other position filled with the applicants that he has. And another note, a recent graduate from the Royal Palm Beach High School got the assistant superintendent job with our superintendent out at the rec center. He just recently graduated from Royal Palm High. He grew up at the rec center playing basketball, and he got a job with K&L being the superintendent's assistant. And he's really looking forward to expanding the rec center and being part of that project.
A great combination.
And his specialty in high school was the construction management program, and that's what he wants to pursue for a living.
Fantastic. What a perfect combination.
Yeah.
Yeah, really great. Anything else?
That was it. Thank you.
Madam Attorney.
It's hard to follow up all of that really fun and interesting information. Just a brief update, the bills are still coming through the governor's desk, so we're hoping in the next few weeks to finalize the legislative memo, but there are still 13 or 14 that have not been acted upon. So as soon as it's finished, it'll come your way, but I expect again in the next 2 weeks, hopefully for that. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Any further news on I know the budget is still pending, on the property tax issue?
The most recent thing I saw was they're looking at June for a session, but I don't think that's set in anything other than pencil at this point because the budget is still the top priority.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is petitions. Are there any petitions come before the council?
No.
We have no petitions showing up online. All right. Not seeing any, then I will close that section and move on to the statements from the public on non-agenda items or consent agenda items. And I do have a card. Mr. Brad Johnson, if you step up to the microphone and...
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
would you state your name again, even though I just said it, and also your
Dr.
your
Brad
address?
Johnson, and my address is 120 Sparrow Drive here in the village. I'm a proud member or a resident of the village. I was living in Wellington for a little while, but it's great to be back in Royal Palm Beach. And seeing you up there, I feel like I should walk by and shake your hand with all the hands you shook at graduation. I'm a faculty member at Royal Palm Beach High School, and so thank you for participating on Monday. Thanks also for mentioning the fitness center. I need to get in there. Sign up. Membership right away. As I was walking my dog recently on Sparrow Drive, I noticed a gentleman in his golf cart who was picking up trash. And he said he's been doing that for almost 20 years and had the privilege of talking to him for a little while, and his daughters had gone to Royal Palm Beach High School. And I just thought that should be recognized, and I know that you make proclamations, and Public Works is mentioned tonight. I plan to forward his name to Ms. DeSanto because I think you'd agree that's noble for a resident to be taking the initiative for so many years to make the village look better. So that's all I wanted to say, and I'm not sure if there's anything less than a proclamation, or I thought of President Bush's 1,000 points of light, the way he used to recognize citizens who contributed. But thank you for this opportunity to speak, and thank you for all you do for the village.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We'll certainly take that under advisement and see if we can find a way to recognize those small but mighty acts of care for the village. It's a great example, that's for sure. It is. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. All right, are there any other cards or? Come on down.
Good evening, Council. My name is Mark Vieta. I live at 12111 58th Place North. And just for the record, I would like to say thank you, not only to all of you, but also to Mr. Ray Higgins for putting together the Youth Civic Leadership Program. Although I was not a completer, I did enjoy getting to learn more about how you can participate in your local government, not only through just attending meetings, but also learning the ins and outs of how much goes into running a village our size. Personally, I'd like to say thank you to not only you, Mayor Amara, but also Vice Mayor Sharps. Both of you have been very present in the growth of this program and also in my personal life. So thank you for that. And then I'd also like to extend a congratulations and a thank you to every member here on the council board. If I were to say my remarks on the program, it was very informative. I feel that more students, not only just at Royal Palm, but possibly extending it out to other schools such as Seminole Ridge High School, it would be very effective not only to teach us more about how we can benefit our community by being active in our local government, but also, again, the purpose of the program was to show us what careers could we find through this program. So thank you so much for your time, and have a great evening.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. And congratulations on your Eagle Scout. Well done. Well done. So, with that said, then we can, I think, move on to consent agenda. Madam Clerk, would you read the consent agenda into the record,
Yes,
please?
Mayor, I will. Number 1, approval of the minutes of the council regular meeting of April 16, 2026. 2, approval of a special events permit application for the Village of Royal Palm Beach to conduct a Memorial Day service at Veterans Park located at 1036 Royal Palm Beach Boulevard on Monday, May 25, 2026 from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. 3, approval of a special events permit application for the Village of Royal Palm Beach to conduct the annual Star Spangled Spectacular at Commons Park located at 11600 Poinciana Boulevard on Saturday, July 4th, 2026 from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. 4, adoption of resolution number 2611, resolution of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, approving and authorizing in accordance with established policy a budget amendment for Funds 303, General Capital Improvement in the fiscal year 2026 budget. Said amendment to transfer a total of $550,000 from Fund 304 undesignated fund balance to street and site light fixture replacement PR 2508. In addition, said amendment to transfer a total of $80,000 from Catsfield Electric R&R PR 2609 to street and site light fixture replacement PR 2508. 5, approval and authorization for the village manager to execute the piggyback agreement with Musco Sports Lighting LLC for the purchase of sports lighting equipment and materials for site light fixture replacement project at the Cats Soccer Field Complex. The cost for said lighting and equipment shall not exceed $421,512, and funds will come from project PR 2508. 6, approval and authorization for the mayor to enter into a lease agreement with Camellia Drive Holdings, LLC, for the property lease of 734.4 square feet of village-owned property adjacent to Camellia Park. The property lease is for a 5-year term with 3 additional 5-year renewal options, commencing on July 1st, 2026, and ending June 30th, 2031. 7, approval and authorization for the village manager to execute a continuing professional services agreement for mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineering services with Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated. 8, approval of a bid award and authorization for the village manager to enter into a contract with Kuano Builders Corporation, the lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $162,345 for the lighting upgrade village sports fields, PR 2508. And 9, approval and authorization for the village manager to execute change order number 3 with Heavy Civil for additional base rock, removal and disposal of excess millings, and installation of sewer manhole risers. The change order is in the amount of $47,243.08, funded by project SW2504, New La Mancha Avenue Drainage.
Thank you. Are there any items the council wishes to pull for further discussion?
I would like to pull consent agenda items number 4, 5, and 8, please.
Say that again, please.
Number 4, number 5, and number 8.
Okay, any others?
Mayor, I'd like to pull number 9.
Okay. If there are no others, then I will entertain a motion to approve the remaining consent agenda items, which you could read off probably just to be very clear about it.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda items number 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Let's begin with
Yep. And just for clarification, and the village manager can, I don't know if you want to go ahead and take this, but because lighting for all of our sports programs are always an issue, so if we can just summarize the 3 agenda items and the time frame for them, please.
Okay, Mark's got the time frame. So what you have is number 4 is a budget adjustment. Number 5 is the purchase of the material from Musco, and number 8 is the hiring the contractor to install it. We did have a short in our lighting system out there at the soccer fields a few months back, so we've moved this project up, and the delivery of the materials is going to be about 6 weeks, and the construction, Mark, was that? I think it was 6 months following the 6-week delivery is the construction. He would come out if I was wrong.
6 months.
Here it goes. Oh no, I might have been wrong. Was it 60 days?
Right.
Okay. See.
Sorry, thanks. For point of clarification, is it maximum of 60 days after the 6-week delivery?
Correct. Once they take delivery of the equipment, they have 60 days.
Thank you.
Which puts us right at the start of the fall season.
Okay, so you're looking September?
Early September.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much. I make a motion to approve consent agenda items number 4, 5, and 8.
I have a motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any opposed. That passes unanimously. Mr.
Number
Village
9.
Manager.
Number 9 it was on the agenda, even though it wasn't the $50,000 or above, which the council approves. But we did not have agreement with the contractor. I explained that to all the council. There's still some discrepancy in the materials, volumes, and cost. We are about 10% apart. We did come to resolution, and the resolution is $51,191.20, and that will be reflected in the actual change order.
Okay, all right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Any questions, comments, discussions about that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve
Mr.
consent
Mayor.
agenda number 9.
I offer a motion to approve agenda item number 9, consent agenda number 9.
I have a motion. Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. That completes the consent agenda for this evening. Moving on to the regular agenda. The first item on the agenda is a presentation of the village's new website. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a team effort.
It is a team effort.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
council, staff, fellow residents. First of all, thank you, Mayor, for the recognition on the AI. That was unexpected, but appreciated. And full disclosure, about 81% of the script that I'm about to present here was written by AI. I'm going to do my best to make it sound like I'm not reading it, but we'll see how well that goes. So the primary reason we launched the new website slightly ahead of our strategic plan schedule is that we needed to be compliant with the latest web accessibility guidelines by April 24th. The second reason was to make up for some of the shortfalls of our previous website. So there were significant limitations that affected both usability and communicability. There's an AI word for you. Primarily, the old site was restricted to a single pane of glass that displayed only a menu and a search bar. The original concept here relied heavily on a search-driven experience that assumed that users would simply search for what they needed, which proved ultimately to be too limiting. It offered really no room for any visual storytelling, no flexibility for highlighting important initiatives, and no dynamic content to guide our residents to what mattered most. So with the new website, the first thing that you'll see is that we started with a throwback logo. So in the 1960s, the original Royal Palm developers, Lefcourt Realty, they introduced this logo in their early marketing brochure. So we revived this classic design as a bit of a nod to our heritage, and we think that it blends a bit of the past and present into this kind of single timeless look. Now, the new website does keep the familiar search functionality that many of our users relied on, but it no longer forces everybody through that single search pathway. Instead, the homepage now has space for our space and flexibility to highlight the important information, programs, and services, upcoming activities right up on the front page there. This gives visitors kind of a quick visual snapshot of what's happening in the village without having to dig around as they did in the old website. And for those who kind of prefer that traditional browsing experience, the full menu structure is still available at the top of the page. And here we hope to kind of create a balanced approach with both a quick at-a-glance information for casual users and a clear menu-driven navigation for those who want to explore deeper. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our media specialist, Chelsea Gomez, and she's going to walk you through some of the key features of our new site.
All right, thank you.
The
Good evening.
website's main navigation includes 8 primary menu items at the top of the page, providing quick access to the most frequently used sections such as How Do I, Report a Concern, Agendas, Parks and Amenities, Contact a Department, Employment, Subscribe, and Programs and Activities. This setup makes it easy for residents to find information, contact departments, and report concerns, supporting clear and open communication with the village. In the Subscribe section, This allows users to sign up for updates such as news, canal updates, the mayor's e-newsletter, events, and more. It also includes subscription for bids and RFPs and the mobile app, helping keep residents informed across multiple platforms. Directly beneath the 6 primary menu items is what we like to call the Big Four, which highlights key content including roadwork and traffic advisories, the latest community publications, monthly village events, and village successes. This section helps increase awareness and encourages greater community engagement and participation. The monthly village events featured in this section will include our themed concert series, the village's 4 major annual events, Shakespeare at the Park, Memorial Day and Veterans Day celebration, Cultural Community Day, and many more community programs and special events throughout the year. Down at the bottom of the page, you'll find the news flash and upcoming calendar, which highlights events, meetings, and other important village information. Together, these features provide a balanced snapshot of both current updates and upcoming village activities. Now, I'll hand the mic back over to our IS Director, Randy Brown.
So we are working on other improvements on the website, and most importantly, a more efficient delivery method for building permit forms, and we're working closely with Rob Hill, our building director, and his co-pilot, Kumar, and we hope to have that completed in a month or so. So that's pretty much it. That's a very brief overview of our new site. You can access it from any browser anywhere in the world by typing www.royalpalmbeachfl.gov in your browser's address bar. And I'll use this platform also to push for our mobile app. So we also have a mobile app that's an extension of our website. And you can download that on your iOS device or Android device from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store by searching for RPB Connect and download the app, and it'll give you real-time notifications of our services, events, activities, that type of thing. So that's it. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Great. So I have played around with it a little bit, and it is much improved, no doubt about it. And I will ask a question later, but I'm going to turn to the rest of the council and see if anybody has any questions for either one of the 2 teammates up here on our new website. Anybody have any questions? Yes, Councilwoman Brodusky.
I'm curious about branding. We use this old logo on the website, but are we transitioning back to that on everything we're doing?
The intent here was just to kind of introduce this as a throwback, just to kind of draw attention and, I don't know, just have a creative, different element. We do incorporate the traditional logo at the bottom, but we will ultimately transition back to the standard logo.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
Our existing logo is in our code. I mean, it would take, and it's trademark. So there'd be a lot that would have to happen before that change happened.
Any other council member have comments or questions?
Great job. Thank you so much for all the work you put into it.
Well, very good. So the one thing I will comment on, actually 2. So there's a crown above the R. I love the way some of our residents pay close attention to things. That was brought to my attention. I was asked, what's that all about? It's different from what we're experiencing. Well, I know the obvious answer, but I just thought I'd share that with you all to let you know that, first of all, people are paying close attention. Secondly, curious about that.
And that was kind of the spirit of why we went with that logo temporarily or in the short term here, to kind of spark conversation, draw attention to, raise curiosity.
Oh, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, and I imagine the crown is just the regal element of royal, would be my presumption there, but that was the intent.
I didn't know that's the logo you were actually talking about, but it did spark some conversation. I can tell you firsthand.
Yeah, that was the intent.
So it did that. So one of the things that, from a very practical, in the weeds kind of a information request that's come up, especially as we've been doing resurfacing of our roads throughout Royal Palm Beach, is there something online that I can look at that will tell me at least what the planned schedule is for the roadway in my neighborhood. And actually, I tried to do that through the query, and I didn't come up with anything in particular. And so what I did come up with was a suggestion that, and a telephone number for the engineering department, public works department, and that was pretty much what was there. Just wondering.
Yeah, that's a very specific content question that I don't know that I readily have that answer. I know Chelsea does a lot of the content work, and I don't know if you know if that's been published on the site.
So, right.
Go to engineering.
Yeah, you'd have to go to the engineering page, and then in their page, they do have information about some of the road closures. I know they have 441. We have the Royal Palm Beach Boulevard road closures on there as well. The Village Voice also does go into detail about that, and we do also have the capital improvements map that would also explain into more detail about what's happening with that project.
It was not what I got when I queried it. That answer is a really good answer. It makes sense. I know that information is there because I've been told that otherwise, but I'm just saying as something that might be worthwhile taking a closer look at, see if the response is more along the lines of what you just spoke rather than what was written.
And Chris does have in there, in his department, I don't know how far you have to drill down and where, but he does have, we did put all of the 147 lane miles of road that we have on a continuous resurfacing program. I think it's a 28-year, it's a 16 to 28-year program. But that's not all the roads in Royal Palm Beach. It won't be the roads in your neighborhood. It'll be just the public roads in Royal Palm Beach, and that is in there.
Yes, ma'am.
The question that I got was, is there a button, people are button happy, is there something I can click on that'll take me directly to where that list is?
No.
Without having, there's not, okay, that's what I want. You do have to drill now. Is there any plan to eventually maybe have a minimum of 3-click
A lot of
activity?
3 clicks.
Yeah.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Chris Marsh. He's the one who created it, so he.
Go, Chris.
Yeah.
We have it about 3 clicks. If you click on the engineering department, there will be a link to the 5-year resurfacing plan, which is actually a dynamic map in GIS.
Yeah, Scott, if you can push the desktop onto the screen here, I can show where it is.
So can I ask one more question?
Go
So
ahead.
since there's about a 3-clicker, it may be a sentence that says, if you click on this approximate or click on this, it'll take you to here. Click on this, it'll take you to here. Click on this, it'll give you this. A directive for people who are not clicker.
Savvy.
Yeah, that's the word I want to use.
May I make a suggestion?
Would not make it more clear.
But that's what they asked me, so I'm just repeating the question that I was asked.
We can try to do is to make our search engine a little more capable. And I think we have control over some of the search capabilities in the website where we can create meta tags. So if the criteria that the mayor was mentioning wasn't coming up in the search results for him, we can work on that to make it actually work. And then we can convert that into a habit where we do that with all of our pages, that we generate meta content that they can search against and make our search engine more efficient.
Okay. Councilwoman Samuels, do you have something?
All right, so I'm going to go to departments.
Click
this
on
is
it.
a great demo.
All right. Now what?
5-year resurfacing plan.
Bottom left, you actually changed the page recently, so it used to be bottom left.
Top right, the first one.
Top.
First one that says 5-year resurfacing plan.
Okay.
That's 2.
That's it.
Okay, if I put my address in there, will it take me to that?
Yes.
Put it where?
That was going to be my next question.
I'm not sure where you put it, but.
Where do you put it, Chris?
I can't see the whole screen. There should be, on the upper, the top portion of it, there should be a
there? No? Okay, I don't want to make too much out of this. It's just an example.
Yeah.
Just an example of,
How'd you get that?
Clicked on the mic, the
Circle search thing.
magnifying glass.
House I'm putting in here.
okay.
Well, that's Westfall.
Okay.
All right, I'm still looking,
Well, I put in a different address.
right?
Yeah, I just typed a random.
May I make a suggestion?
And if you click on the link, it will actually tell you the year, or this roadway segment.
Is that what you're referring to, Chris?
My screen is blurry, so I can't.
Okay, that's all right. We can take it up later. Councilwoman Samuels has been trying to say something for a few minutes. Go ahead.
On the homepage where you have the lane closures, one of the tiles, just if you can't rotate that, just change it out. So when you have the lane closures, just put that as the 5-year resurfacing plan, and that's easier for everyone to find it for right now.
But those 4 things, we're leaving those 4 things for current things that are not something that's just there, that's static, that doesn't change over a 5-year period. If we put things, all information there that we're doing the next 5 years, that would not make it easy to click on the most recent stuff that we're doing this month.
I understand that, but if you have 2 council members that have said that they've had multiple people tell them that they can't find it and that's what they're looking for, then even though it's not most recent, it might be something that's interesting that a lot of people want to know. Or then maybe do it in the news flash and just do it as a hyperlink on the bottom left, and just that way it's always there. That way it's one click.
There's no limit to the content we can put here. This page can stretch on in perpetuity if we wanted, but.
So the only reason I bring that up is I know there's a lot of information available with GIS and layers and all that kind of stuff. And if we can make it easy to access, I think that would be appreciated.
Yeah.
And just as a thought going forward, that was the only reason I brought it up. And there are other applications for that too. So thank you so much for that. Any final comments or questions? Yes.
Yes, thank you. One
Councilwoman Rodesky.
alternative suggestion. We have a button that says, how do I? Maybe it could be, how do I find road surfacing from that prompt?
Kind of what I'm talking about.
And it would take you right to the page.
Right, that's another option.
Okay.
No shortage of
All
options.
right, well, we gave you something to chew on, and we thank you very much for the really fine effort on the new website. Excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot. Okay, that was more of kind of like a workshop item for information purposes than it was a action required on the part of the council. So before we get into the next agenda item, which does require an action on the council's part, I want to comment on something that we did just before we did the Citizens Summit, and that was something that was referred to as the governance workshop. And I think we had a good, candid conversation. I think it was very, very helpful, very informative, and it identified certain basic principles that I think, agreed we would all adhere to. And I think we probably would be helpful if we had a copy of what that final set of 9, if I recall it, were, just to have as a reminder, a touchstone. We also reaffirmed that the council is primarily about conducting business in a manner that is dignified and that encourages trust by our residents. And ensuring that also a really important point, that every council member gets a chance to comment on each regular agenda item before any motion is made. Accordingly, for each regular agenda item, I'll individually call on each council member for initial comments prior to entertaining a motion. And the starting point for those comments will rotate from item to item so that a council member has an equal opportunity to speak first during the course of a meeting. And then finally, after each one has an opportunity to speak, I will ask if there are any additional comments before I ask for a motion and a vote. That's what I drew out of our conversation. And with that thought in mind, let's move on to regular agenda item number 2, which is an ordinance ordinance number 1067. And at this point, I will turn to our attorney to read the title.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll read the title quickly. As you said, it's ordinance number 1067, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 6, Buildings and Building Regulations, Section 6-147, lighting requirements, to rename the section and update regulations applicable to lighting within the village, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 6, Building and Building Regulations, shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Presentation on that. Mr. Hill.
Just here, if you have any other questions for the second reading?
And there were no changes from the prior version, so this is second reading, as he said.
Very good, very good. So I'll turn to Vice Mayor for any comments.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Rodusky.
No comments.
Councilwoman Samuels.
I have a question, a logistical question. So because it's a lighting concern, do we have staff that work at night, or are they receiving a complaint in the daytime and then have to go out? So how do we clarify, yes, there was lighting?
We do anticipate this to be largely complaint-driven. There won't be a comprehensive policing of the village in the evening. You know, I know you're aware of the few evening patrols or observations that we do, but it's not that expansive. But at least now we'll have a mechanism in place to handle some of those concerns that are the obvious, like I had mentioned previous, the sometimes an accidental and sometimes antagonistic neighbor that's one of the issues that they kind of employ, and this will be able to thwart most of that, I believe.
So if I feel that I am being victimized by my neighbor with their light, do I need to take a picture to show you? Because then if somebody comes in the next day, is it, no, I didn't put the light in their yard versus yes, they did? So do you recommend residents have some sort of?
Well, they can, but in reality, if you look at the ordinance, it's structured so that if somebody has a light above the roof line or a certain size, then we might come out and do a nighttime observation as well.
Thank you.
That would be responsive to the complaint.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Valenis?
None, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and I don't have any comments or questions. Are there any further council comments before I entertain a motion to approve, or a motion?
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, you're right. Public comment. Thank you. So I'll open up the floor to public comment on regular agenda item number 2. Are there any cards?
Mayor.
Are there any hands raised, Mr. Manager?
No, Mayor.
Anyone in the room care to comment? Not seeing any, I'll close public comment. And now I will ask if there's any final comment from the council. And if not, I will look for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion to approve regular agenda item number 2.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. It passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, regular agenda item number 3 is ordinance number 1071. And again, I'll turn to our village attorney to read that into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you said, it's ordinance number 1071, an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Royal Palm Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 26 zoning at Article 3 Administration and Procedures to amend Section 26-42 reasonable accommodations in order to provide additional definitions and update the procedures and standards for reasonable accommodation requests for certified recovery residences, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 26 zoning shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date and for other purposes. And just briefly, Mr. Mayor, this ordinance, you may think that you're having a bit of deja vu. So you had a similar ordinance before you in December of 2025 to meet the statutory requirements of last year's new law to adopt an ordinance to establish a reasonable accommodation process for certified recovery residences. You remember back then, you had a policy that drove that. We codified that, and now it's in your code of ordinances. This ordinance provides some additional regulations based on the types of facilities that certified recovery residences are, some additional paperwork requirements that are now built into the ordinance to make sure that upon application we receive all the required information. It's in the typical format where everything that's double underlined is the new proposed language. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. The real substance in subsection H of the ordinance tracks the case law precedent. So we're building in things that are required and mandated by the cases that pertain to these facilities, but it's just to make sure that we have everything we need in our ordinance in the event that we get an application in the future.
Okay, thank you.
For any questions that you all may have,
Okay,
thank you.
Mr. O'Brien, do you have anything you wish to add?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. All right, and let me turn to the public, and we have no cards. Raised. Anyone in the chamber care to comment on regular agenda item number 3? Not seeing any, I'll close the floor to public comment. I will turn to the council by first asking Councilman Valentes if he had any comments or questions.
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Samios.
No.
Vice Mayor Sharps.
No, sir.
Councilwoman Rodeski.
No, thank you.
Okay, and if there are any final comments from the council, now's the time. Not seeing any, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve regular agenda item R3.
I have a motion. Looking for a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any opposed. It is approved. Thank you very much. Okay, regular agenda item number 4, Village Manager Annual Review, Evaluation, and Merit Pay Determination. Would our village attorney like to kind of set the stage on this?
I sure can, Mr. Mayor. So you have before you all recall you do this annually, so it is very familiar to you at this point. So you have in your agenda item summary, you have, this is set by and required by your village code that you do an annual review of your village manager. The mayor circulated to you a memorandum, as he does every year, that sets forth the evaluation standards that you're to utilize in doing Manager Liggins's review. So you have those criteria, and those loosely track the his duties and responsibilities as they're set forth in your code and in your charter, and they obviously align with the village's mission. But one of the things that you'll recall at this review, anyways, is this is the review that you're doing. You're looking back over the manager's performance over the last 12-month period. So recently his contract came up, and when you do that, you discuss an adjustment to his base salary. What you're doing tonight is his evaluation to determine a merit increase. So what your code says is, and what his contract says is that you have the discretion to award from 0 to 5%. Again, that's based on his last year's performance, not his future performance over the coming year, but for last year's performance. And as you do every year, at the end of your discussion, there'll be a motion and a second and a vote, depending on what you all decide. So is that sufficient, or would you like me to answer anything else?
No, I think that's fine. Does the council have any questions for the attorney before we go further? All right, not seeing any, then I will turn to Councilwoman Rodeski.
I can't find my notes right now. Do you mind skipping me for the moment?
Okay,
They're here somewhere.
all right, that's fine.
I apologize.
Vice Mayor?
I wrote a book. Okay, seriously. I did score each one as the mayor had asked to make it simple in my head so that we wouldn't be here all night. But I did write some things that I needed to say to you, Mr. Liggins. As you always know, I have always said to you in our meetings that we ask you to do things and you always knock it out of the park. You might growl, but you knock it out of the park. And I am really very happy that you are our village manager. You consistently demonstrated exceptional leadership, and I'm pretty sure you're going to continue to do that. you just change your mind about retiring, then you would get 30 points from me. But in the meantime, if I could just give a total, can I just give a total?
However you wish to express your rating.
I'll just give a total. You got 29 points from me, Mr. Liggins. Again, I enjoy working with you, and I really wish you would change your mind about retiring. Because, the rec center, and then do something else major is on my mind.
Okay, thank you. Have you found your notes?
I have.
Okay, Councilwoman Rodesky.
Thank you very much. I appreciate Vice Mayor Sharp's calculations, but I'm not sure, is that at 5 points for each element? Is that how you?
It's even
29 out of 30.
1 to 5 on each element.
Okay. I thought maybe it was a full rating, like a Yelp, and we got 1 through 5. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I just want to say, Manager Liggins, that you are an exceptional leader. Not only do you have financial management that is super strong, very conservative, it's fiscal stability throughout the year, it is the forecasting in the future, and keeping us informed so that we are not blindsided but by what the future holds for us. And you've done this for the past, as long as I've been here, and really talking about, and not Chicken Little, like the ceiling's falling, but really helping us make informed decisions before we have to make really bad informed decisions. So I appreciate that. Your leadership among employees is extremely impressive due to the culture and the retention that we have on the team. I appreciate that. And then external leadership, which I think is, for me, doesn't reflect in sort of these categories, but maybe. And that is your leadership not only with the transportation plan and trying to really help them understand what it looks like for us out here and getting roads built that would help ease the burden of transportation, but also property tax. And you've been recognized not only from our county leaders, but also the Florida League of Cities for the work that you've done. And so I just want to recognize you for doing all of that, and I appreciate you.
Great, thank you. Councilman Melendez.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Ray for all of the good hard work that he's done. He sets a good example for our department heads, for our employees, and that's one of the things that I believe makes Royal Palm Beach one of the best places to live, is we have dedicated employees, dedicated staff who want to make this the best place we can live. I mean, Ray's a resident, just like the rest of us, and he's really invested in the community. And I appreciate that. And so unlike Sylvia, I guess I gave him a Yelp review. My Yelp review is going to be 4.8 out of 5, and that'll be, my recommendation on the increase. But I just, Ray's been doing an excellent job for a long time, and I really do appreciate, the level of professionalism and dedication you've brought to the village, because we have been, really stable and just a good functioning municipal organization. So a lot of it has to do with you. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Councilwoman Samuels.
Well, like any review, nothing should be a shock or surprise because we talk on a regular basis. So I would say is, your institutional knowledge, not only with the village, but the county, does benefit us. I always look at you as the father figure whose job is to say no, and then staff and council have to convince you why we want you to say yes. So thanks for being there and doing that. My feedback has been the same feedback always, is that I would love for your engineering mind to expand so that it's not within the confines of 2 straight lines, but that's just something maybe we can work on when you retire. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I did talk to the village manager one-on-one, I think, as we all did. And I'm sure that was much more extensive in our conversation and providing feedback to Mr. Liggins. But I think it's always remarkable how long so many of the key members of the staff remain with the village. I know from my own experience, a lot of that has to do with, somebody used the word culture, and the culture is often created by the leader. And so that's a testament, I think, to your outstanding leadership, your trustworthy leadership, and the fact that basically people trust you. And that's incredibly important, and they are happy to work for you. Maybe not moment to moment, we all have that, but at the end of the day, it is clearly a culture that is a successful one and one that people enjoy for long periods of time. As far as the village image is concerned, one of the things that might seem small is we all get contact the council emails, right? And I don't know about you all, but I usually immediately forward them to the village manager, and he is very quick to respond, and that creates, I think, a very positive image out there, one particular situation at a time. We do things like leaning into a new website. That's really important for developing the image, all of which is designed and intended to create trust, to be transparent. And so the fact that we see these continual improvements, I think, are a credit again to our manager's leadership. Outside the village, I can tell you, I spend a lot of time with a lot of different organizations, the MPO, the Countywide Master Transportation Plan Organization, the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Organization, and he has a reputation that is above reproach, and certainly one that gains him a lot of respect, and therefore, so does Royal Palm Beach get that same respect. Long-range planning was another one of those elements. Well, I can go back 15 years now, and I remember when he brought the idea of the strategic planning process, which is rigorous, but most importantly, it is the basis for our budgeting to the council at that time. And it was met with a mix. It really was. There was not total buy-in to it, and I suspect maybe within the staff it was the same way. But I think now it's become such an ingrained part of how we behave that we get the reputation of being one of the best, if not the best managed village municipality in Palm Beach County for good reason. And that, in large measure, is due to Mr. Liggins' professionalism and meticulous detail. Financial management, my gosh, long-range financial planning is not something you see in a lot of municipalities, and we're doing it. And that allows us to take on issues in a timely fashion so as to not be in a crisis mode. And of course, key staff players like Ms. Almeida make all of that even more possible. But without Ray's leadership, his support, it probably wouldn't move as forward and as well as it is right now. We're going to be challenged in the very near future, regardless of what the outcome of this property tax initiative is. We know something called the 10% cut exercise is pending. I believe that's supposed to be effective next year. There are a lot of challenges, but we're in a good place for it. We have the substance, we have the basis for dealing with these challenges in a healthy way. So, and that again is largely due to Mr. Liggins' leadership. Communications, it's been an interesting experience. It is comes in a variety of forms. Obviously with us individually, and I would say that's an area that, like any relationship, always requires attention. And what I've enjoyed, though, is seeing kind of a new side of our manager as we stepped out and did the youth civic leadership program. And he brought the entire staff leadership to Royal Palm Beach High School. And I think it was a fantastic exercise for everybody. Somebody mentioned in passing that one of the side benefits of that program is to introduce the youth to the kind of career fields that exist within local government. And then, of course, the introduction of the idea that what we do here not only has a huge impact but requires a dedicated staff and experts, and we have that, and he represented it well. I really enjoyed the Rock the Vote. I saw a side of our village manager I hadn't seen before, his enthusiasm. In fact, there's a video out there that even shows him waving his arms, which I think is really an interesting thing. All of which is a communications, and it shows an authentic kind of a leadership, and I really value that and appreciate it. And the last item on the list is completion of capital projects. So I think we're at 81-point-something% complete as of the fourth quarter. And some might say, well, shoot, that's like 20% short. Well, it's not if you look at the fact that many of those projects are multi-year projects. And that's a pretty remarkable and a pretty consistent rate. I've seen 78%, 79%. Again, it's a matter of good, rigorous program management, leadership, and again, it's something that I think our village manager excels in. And so we are now at the point where we need to consider the merit increase that will be, as our village attorney said, will be a lump sum amount that will vary between 0 and 5%. And so with that said, unless there's any other discussion among the council, I'll look for a motion which should identify a percentage.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion that we grant Mr. Ray Liggins a 5% merit.
Okay, I have a motion.
Mine was just, from what you said at the beginning, I thought we had one more round, because I don't think everyone, I know I came out with a number.
Okay, all right.
But am I wrong in that, last comments of council before a motion?
Well, that's what I was asking for. So
Okay.
I asked for it, and nobody said anything. So,
Okay, I'm sorry.
we can go back, we can go back.
Misunderstood.
Actually, if I may, I think what we should do then is, I think what you wanted to do was have each council member give their thoughts on a percentage, not one motion for everybody to agree on. I think once we've all come to a firm number, then go back and make a motion.
Okay, so we can do it that way, and I can turn to each one of the council members and ask them for a percentage. Okay. So let's start down with Councilwoman Brodusky.
I'm good with 5%.
And the vice mayor has already said 5%. I'll turn to.
I'll stick with my 4.8, but.
Okay. Councilwoman.
I feel all the employees that meet the same criteria as the village manager, it should fall in an average of that. So if it's 4%, 3.5%, 5%, it should be with the rest. It should be based on everyone else who gets this type of review. I always think it's the average of the rest of the staff.
So you have no number?
So what we can do now is make a motion to approve a number, and then we can vote on it whether yay or nay. But I always think that it should be in the average of all the other staff that fall within the criteria.
Okay. So the approach that we're going to use then is that we can average the 4 numbers that we have, unless you wish to offer a number. Okay. And so I would say 5. And we have 5, 5, 4, 8. What did you say, Councilwoman Brodusky?
I said 5.
You said 5. So real quick, it comes out 19.8 divided by 4, which is,
95.
yes.
If I could, at least sitting up here, from what I've heard, the majority of this council has said 5. I mean, so I would think someone would want to make a motion as to what their thing is. I understand you're doing the math for us to average us all, but I see where the majority's going, and...
So that takes me back to where I was at the very beginning,
Correct.
which is looking for a motion. So my idea was a motion.
Not everyone's got numbers on the table.
Okay.
That helped me, I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
That I I get it.
Got it. I apologize for not having taken that approach, be more clear about it. So, did you have a comment?
A comment. I like the idea of averaging our scores instead of doing a motion. I mean, we can do a motion on the average, but I like that idea.
Okay, and so that's what I was trying to do here, but I would rather not rely on my ability to do the math in my head. So if somebody would actually... 4.95. Okay, we have 4.95% average. That informs everybody. Now I'll look for a motion. Will that work? Okay.
Mr.
Somebody
Mayor.
care to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we give our village manager, Mr. Ray Liggins, 5%.
Okay, I have a motion,
Second.
and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any. It passes unanimously, 5%. All right, I thank you very much for your efforts on this, and we'll try to be clearer next year, I promise you.
Excuse me, Mayor, may I indulge in one comment, please?
Sure.
Thank you. So just out of curiosity, I asked AI what your review should be. So it produced a report, which is very entertaining, and I thought I'd share it with you.
Okay, all right.
It gave you...
If there's no further business,
It gave you a 3.94, just by the way.
thank you very much. If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.